Was Santa Claus really a drunk? Just who is Santa Claus anyway? I'm Jon Deer for Blah Blah, and today we talk about Santa Claus, that immortal superhuman who flies around the world in a single night delivering toys to all the boys and girls on a sleigh drawn by 8 flying reindeer. Let's break that down. Santa starts his travel around the globe on the night that begins on December 24th and ends on the morning of December 25th. The shortest day in the Northern Hemisphere is December 21st, which means the night of December 24th is one of the longest nights, giving Santa extra time in the Northern Hemisphere. However, because of the tilt in the axis of the Earth, the opposite is true in the Southern Hemisphere, where December 24th is one of the shortest nights of the year. Nighttime moves around the globe as the planet spins, and it takes roughly 24 hours for a complete rotation. Adding to that the average amount of time it is night in any specific location, which is about 12 hours, more in the Northern Hemisphere, less in the Southern Hemisphere, Santa has about 36 hours to complete his task. There are at least 1.9 billion children 15 or younger on the planet Earth. So by dividing the number of children by the number of hours Santa has to do this, which is roughly 36 hours, we know that he must deliver toys to 52,777,777 boys and girls per hour. Dividing that by the number of minutes in an hour, 60, we know Santa must deliver gifts to 879,629 kids per minute, which means he must deliver gifts to 14,660 children per second. So who is this amazing man, Santa? We know him by many names, including this one, Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas was an ancient Greek born in Turkey around 270 AD who became a bishop. He was nothing like the Santa Claus we know today. He didn't fly around the world, didn't have reindeer, and didn't deliver toys to kids. Instead, he was known as a generous religious leader who anonymously gave money to those in poverty. In one of the more famous stories about St. Nicholas, a poor father was preparing to sell his 3 daughters into prostitution. As the first daughter came of age, a bag of money flew in through the window in the middle of the night, enough money to give her a dowry so she could get married. A year later, the same thing happened as the second daughter came of age. The poor father wanted badly to know who had saved his daughters, so when the third one came of age a year later, the man waited up and watched out the window. St. Nicholas preferred anonymity, so he snuck down the chimney and left the bag of money, saving the daughter from prostitution and maintaining his anonymity. St. Nicholas also brought some children back from the dead and other great and mysterious things. He was very popular throughout the Dark Ages when there was great poverty and suffering. However, when the Renaissance began, he was mostly lost to time, except in a few corners of the world. In those corners of the world, mostly Scandinavian countries, they also had another tradition. They believed in the pagan god Odin. Odin was a complex Germanic god who represented wisdom, magic, poetry, and war. Odin flew through the air on a white horse with 8 legs. As the Scandinavian countries slowly Christianized, ideas about Odin and St. Nicholas slowly began to merge. Somehow, St. Nicholas gained the ability to fly through the air on a magic horse. He would visit children on his birthday, which was December 5th. He had servants who gathered information about the children's behavior, and if they were bad, they were beaten with sticks, tossed into a sack, and carried off to Spain, where St. Nicholas, now known as Sinterklaas, supposedly lived. If they were good, he would bring them gifts. This Sinterklaas is getting close to our modern-day Santa, but the story is not over yet. While all this was going on in the Netherlands, over in England they had a different tradition. By the 1600s, they had celebrated Christmas for more than 1,000 years, and they celebrated with very festive parties, which included role-playing, alcohol, and some debauchery. It was essentially the one time of the year when a repressed society could live it up freely and carelessly. Then came the Puritans, who believed it was their mission to cleanse England of decadence, including any Christmas celebrations. In 1644, they banned all Christmas celebrations, including even going to Mass. Christmas was illegal. The Pilgrims passed similar laws in some of the American colonies. Protests immediately arose, and these protests became embodied in the character of Father Christmas, a jolly man who loved to visit at Christmas time and party heartily. The literal ban on Christmas lasted only a few decades, but the Puritan disfavor of Christmas lasted for 150 years. In the 1800s, with Victorian England taking hold, Christmas was revived. However, the boisterous image of Father Christmas was given somewhat of a makeover, and he was portrayed in a more benevolent role as the bringer of gifts. In 1809, American author Washington Irving took the idea of Sinterklaas and Americanized him, calling him Santa Claus. In 1823, an anonymous poet published a poem we now know today as The Night Before Christmas. Pretty soon, the modern tale of Santa Claus was cemented, with Santa Claus being known interchangeably as Kris Kringle, Father Christmas, St. Nicholas, or Santa Claus, and flying through the air on a sleigh drawn by 8 magic reindeer. There's been a persistent rumor that the Coca-Cola Company invented Santa Claus. The rumor came about because Coke co-opted the image of Santa in the 1930s with images like these. However, according to Snopes.com, modern Santa predates these images and was well known as early as 1906 and widely published in 1925. So who is the real Santa? A Norse god who flies around on an 8-legged horse? A bishop who saves women from prostitution? A merry fellow who loves to party heavily? Or a jolly old man who flies around the world in a single night on a sleigh drawn by 8 magic reindeer? To borrow an idea from Joseph Campbell, Santa Claus is a public dream. And dreams, whether public or private, are often worth hanging on to. I'm Jon Deer for Blah Blah, wishing you a Merry Christmas. If you like this episode, please share it. That's what keeps us alive. You can also check out our Facebook page and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm Jon Deer for Blah Blah. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you next year. Thanks for watching.